you all. It really does mean a lot that we get a chance to play. Tonight's episode is Soup City Sins Season 8 official premiere, If You Don't Know How to Die. Now, when we last left our coterie, Alexander was mending and attending to the very real needs of him remaining in an unalive state. Dizzy was tending to the various pernicious activities of the humans that litter the entirety of the Loyola campus. There are criminal enterprises, there are socially criminal enterprises, there are unethical actions being committed, and as she bolsters and secures her haven and her minor domain within the coterie's larger domain, Lucio was following up on news received via Juanica's sources, and Hestia, having taken a visit north of the coterie's haven to Karen's home, her home away from home, her castle, her sanctum. In the offing, as Alexander was mending and the details of everything that has transpired kind of settle into place, and he realizes how deeply the rabbit hole goes, how one thing ties to another, and how one wholly, seemingly unconnected event sits at the heart of everything that has beset him. Naomi, the realities of her connections through the kindred community, through the homeless community, specifically the female population of the homeless community, and her enmity with various other organizations, up to and including the One-Eyed King, a ghost story, a tale of a monstrous entity and his followers throughout the entirety of the homeless community. Those enmities having ties to various other organizations, such as the judges and the martial artists, who more times than not are former armed forces members who have fallen on hard times. And the criminal organizations and enterprises taking place throughout the student body at Loyola, which reach back several different generations, who have enmities and ties to various officially organized criminal enterprises such as the Castiglione and Tories, the Acampo, the Mayhews, and the various others that run rampant through the city, settling with the Office of Professional Standards for the Chicago Police Department. And Lucio's receipt of information from Juanica's forces coming again via the homeless community, the indigent community, as Juanica has taken off for parts unknown. Information that Laura Blakeney in fact did arrive, and she arrived with a entourage, and there were 4 individuals at her beck and call, securing the area, and only those with some experience in counterintelligence were able to obtain anything more than the information was exchanged from Novak to Laura. And there was almost a friendly atmosphere. And Hestia arriving to her sanctum of her home away from home, and realizing that the wards in place do not apply to the living or pseudo-living, as the window near her garage had been broken. They need to come in through the garage and traipsed with dirty shoes. They tore up the floor. They didn't manage to destroy much else. It was almost as if they were being as respectful as possible. And that makes the violation all the more personal and all the more infuriating, because it's clear that they knew what they were doing. So with all of these details and these threads tying together and circling around themselves, we pick up with the coterie once more in the meeting space of the shelter's haven. Damien sits on his phone because there are several issues that have arisen, several calls, several things that should be handled by the Tremere, to which they have not actually answered, or the answer has been less than forthcoming. With the success rate of the shelter being what it is, he is awaiting everyone's arrival.
Would she be coming in tonight from the house, or would she have slept at the shelter the night before?
She would have been there the night before.
Okay, so there is a very cranky Hestia.
Well, I'm taking it that everybody had such a relatively enjoyable Mother's Day and all those lovely holidays that we don't get to celebrate anymore. So, to appease myself and to hopefully not be as horribly aggravated as I am, do we have a handle or an idea as to what's going on with the Chantry?
She takes very beleaguered and deep breath, looking at Damien. I'm sure you heard about the infighting that happened.
No.
And, well, now you have a battle ensued some time ago amongst the Chantry members. Some of them were probably even killed. I don't know, because I haven't seen some of them since that night. In the midst of the battle, something or someone broke a ward, and it allowed things that the Tremere were policing to escape. That specific Chantry house was held as a bit of a supernatural prison. And the prisoners have escaped, let's just say. So, I'm assuming the reason that you have gotten less than a enthusiastic answer is because they are chasing down what escaped. And I'm probably quite busy. But at the same time, with things being fractioned as they are, I don't know who's doing what. I haven't been able to reach Deuceable lately, and again, I am assuming it is because he is focused on catching the more powerful of the things that may have escaped, of which I do not know because they never told me these things were being kept.
Okay. Well, that explains some of it, but how does that compare with all of the screaming, kindred, complaining of awakening to beings in their haven, of feeling as if they've been followed by God knows what? We still have a treaty with the Lupine, so it can't be them.
Ghosts and spirits and things like ghosts and spirits that can hunt. These worlds have, like I said, escaped the Chantry. They're kind of like demons, but not. And again, they can work between the worlds. Or ghosts of those that may or may not have been killed by said kindred, or may have ties to them in some way, shape, or form. I also have a sneaking suspicion that there is a certain somebody doing some sort of spell that they should not, and they are not Tremere. I look towards Lucio.
At this point, Lucio, who I assume has also spent the night at the Haven previously, chips in and begins talking about what he found with speaking with the Don. So we met with Don Castiglione a few nights back, and we were able to figure out a few things that I don't think they intended to let slip, namely that there's some sort of ceremony going on that involves us possibly in the Haven. To make a long story short, we basically think that they're conducting some sort of ceremony, trying to use us either as the anchor or the bait for spirits, essentially.
This just keeps getting better and better. All right, so what is it that we can or are doing to mitigate that?
Lucio looks to Hestia.
I'm learning and looking for a teacher to teach me certain wards to ward the haven against troublesome spirits sent to us by the Dawn. I might be able to use those wards in other places once I learn them, but in the meantime, I could reach out to the Chantry and see if there was any way I might be of assistance in rounding up what they can't or what they need help with rounding up, so that maybe some of these incidences will calm down or cease. I might have to reach out to a friend in another city. But I'm working on it.
Okay. Do we have an approximate ETA? Do we have a working time frame? Because if it was just the line members of the tower, it'd be another matter entirely. But 2 members of the Primogen have been emotionally traumatized because of what's come through and what's been in their havens. No one still has seen Newberry. All attempts to contact him have been unsuccessful, and none of his known havens or associated places have seen him or have been able to communicate with him. Right now, Critias is very much slowing down the investigation into Newberry's potential disappearance, but it's only so long even someone such as he can hold off the inevitable questions as to what will be our answer to potentially Newberry being sacked by the Sabbat, which is one of the many rumors that is being spread. The Sabbat came in and snatched Newberry up, completing what they initially started 3 decades ago.
Well, he did kind of make himself a target with them. I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah, but unfortunately, we need proof to quell the rumors. We need to have fact on our side, whether we share it or not. But besides the hauntings and Newberry, the real reason why I'm here is Jackson wants to make sure that you guys are getting along well with your domain, that you all are not in any need of any actual assistance, that you all haven't had problems.
Well, the thing is with that, we have made friends, and I have reached out to get help with patrolling the borders and keeping the domain safe. But the whole thing with the Dawn, I think eventually he's going to start pushing and picking and trying to cause problems so that we react. He has the police in his pocket.
No one actually has the police in their pocket, but okay. They may have associates amongst their staff, but that's part of... How much do you all know about St. Jerome's Church?
I think it's not ringing a bell for me at the moment.
Well, that's a good thing. It's a great thing. The domain is officially yours and must be protected and will be protected. However, there are certain treaties and pacts already in place. One of them is that St. Jerome's is unassailable. Well, it's an effective Elysium from even you in your domain. Prince Jackson wants to make sure that you guys are aware to not shit where you eat, because there are bigger fish tied to such things. St. Jerome's being one of them. I'm not supposed to share this with you all, but before Lucio and your entire family was allowed into Tower as a whole, there were other families being considered. One of those families has a contract, a treaty in place of non-interference. And that includes us hounds. That includes all of us. So long as they don't actively seek your life in a manner that can be proven, we can't officially do anything to them. Unofficially, if someone disappears, like Newberry or Simone, it's unofficial. There's no proof. But if there is any proof, it cannot reach the light of day. Because if this treaty is broken, then, well, there will be hell to pay. And there's not many people who don't have enough money besides you.
St. Jerome's isn't that far from here, is it?
It is not. It's actually relatively close. It is, unfortunately, almost smack dab in the middle of your domain.
Well, I'll be damned.
So officially, as someone who cares about you all, as a group, as a unit, as an extension of the will of the prince, and the most visibly recognizable hounds, there can be no official interactions with those individuals who congregate and associate at St. Jerome's. Unofficially, as long as you're able to keep your nose clean and fingerprints off, do what you feel you are able to and need to.
Now, if said people who gather at this church happen to also put a bounty out for someone's head that is a hound, is that violating the treaty?
No. Unless, of course, they themselves collect your head. There's a certain amount of belief in your abilities to defend yourself and keep all your actions unofficial. If it does become a matter of official need of response, remember that hell I was telling you about? That works both ways. So, on brighter news and brighter days, as soon as I find any good news, I will gladly share it with you. You all have a lot on your plate, and I didn't hear that you need help with your domain. What I heard was that you are strengthening the boundaries and bounds of the rich and expansive gift that your prince has bestowed upon you. You are making sure that every person within your domain has an understanding as to whose domain it is, and you all are managing to the best of your ability. That's what I heard, right?
I'd say that's about right.
Excellent. I'll head back and report this to Prince Jackson and leave you to your evening. I know how trying a domain can be. I don't want one for myself. Enjoy your evening, guys. And with that, as he exits, leaving the coterie to their own devices, what is on the agenda? There are many things that need your attention, things that need to be discussed, and many things that need to be field. Where are we in that regard?
Kestia looks to the rest of the coterie. I know this is not your problem, and I will handle it myself, but it is tied to another one of our problems. The Duskborn, in rescuing Sylvia, violated my personal space. They went into a home that I shared with my sire until their death and tore up the floor and tracked dirt throughout in rescuing Sylvia, and I feel very, very vengeful right now. So I think we need to find out at least a little bit at some point what they are doing with their time, and whether they are still a threat to us. Other than that, this thing with the Chantry in blue, you saw him, didn't you, Lucio?
I did.
And he did not look friendly to us this time.
Vengeful is the word I'd use.
So we have to prepare for that problem. And I know that's more in my wheelhouse than anybody's, but as he was tied to at least a couple of you, he might be able to use that to bring himself here. And Forcipulus is in the wind. I'm kind of glad to be rid of them, but at the same time, they were keeping some of the spirits at bay and becaved. So that is a problem. We also need to have contingencies for what Damien just told us about being officially unofficial with what might happen with the Dawn, now that we know what he is up to, mostly.
It might be time to start playing the vampires game, so to speak, and investing in areas of influence and proxies that we can use. And Lucio turns to anyone else who's gathered here. I am open to suggestions.
Alex, Bill, Dizzy, having watched the exchange of information, are there any plans that sit on your tongue or your mind?
You know, I can always help with the unofficial business. Just don't send me after assassination targets, as always. I can help steal information, people, you know, things like that. Or sneak you into somewhere if I have to.
When Alex says assassinations, Bill just raises his hands. Oh, me, pick me. Now, if you want to do the vampire stuff and try to expand your political influence and get your friends closer and your enemies on top of you and etc. Yeah, sounds like fun.
Dizzy will pop her earbuds out and go, "What? Are we talking to me? What are we talking about?"
Oh, we are gonna start a treehouse club.
Sure.
Well, as far as sneaking and exploring and finding, there's a very pressing issue in that regard. You were officially warned to not do anything official in regards to St. Jerome's, but as it is 100% within your domain, finding out its secrets seems fairly pertinent. There's nothing more dangerous than not knowing what's in your house. And the fact that both Hestia and Lucio remember Simone visiting St. Jerome's, it raises several questions. If you all are not to officially interact and he's already reached out and contacted them, could that have been at least one of the many catalysts for what's befalling the coterie now? And there's something very, very loosely connected in regards to Dizzy. There was the message of bishop to archbishop, and that, if nothing else, that sounds very the church itself. And with a central cathedral of the Roman Catholic population sitting less than a few blocks from the center of the main, not too far from the actual shelter, there's no such thing as a coincidence. And specifically for Alexander, the comparative responsibilities of a bishop and a priest directly corresponds to an abbot or a sensei of a dojo.
So I think we can all agree that gathering as much information as possible is important right now. With that in mind, I have somewhat of an idea. And Bill, I think you might be able to help me with this one. Since you and I are both involved in the blood trade now, it might be pertinent to, for at least the next few transactions we make, request some information. Specifically, have our clients investigate whatever they can about St. Jerome's as discreetly as they can.
Well, whenever you want to do something discreet, the best thing to do is do it yourself. I mean, with all the fumbling and bumbling idiots that live in this freaking city.
Right, but the point is that we can't be caught doing it ourselves. The further we distance ourselves from it, the safer we are.
All right. Do you have anyone in mind?
You could hire somebody. Like, that one guy me and Bill interrogated in a car, or if he's not up for it because he's not in the game anymore, I guess we could maybe see if we can find Genghis.
Oh, god damn it.
You know it's a good idea. He doesn't have any compunctions against anything. He's discreet, he's professional. He's an ass, but he's a professional ass.
He's a dipshit.
I hate this idea, but what I hate even more is that I agree with you, Alex.
I just want to go on record that saying that if our solution to a problem is Genghis, then we're doubly fucked.
Cassia points to her nose, like you're on the nose with that. He's also an anarch, so he has no real reason to help the Camp Maria for any reason at all.
He deals in favors. We do him a favor. That's how he.
Those rats are always skulking about and getting secrets and stuff. I'm sure that if we gave them a few pints or a boon or something, they probably can give us what we are looking for.
And the moment that Bill says, "What about the Nosferatu?" there is the gangliest, the most disgusting example of what a cat could be that walks through into the meeting room and sits in the door and looks at everyone, rolls its eyes, and you can swear that there's a and turns around and walks back out.
Cassia busts out laughing.
Did that
You will think we
cat
can smell him,
just
and yet
sass
we
us?
can't.
That cat very much did sass.
Out of character, with the compulsion of the Toreador, does the Nosferatu affect the -1 die, I think it is? Or
It depends on your bane severity, but yes, it is a struggle. It is a feat to keep your stomach from violently expelling itself every time you are within clear visible sight of an unmasked member of the sewer rats. It makes it very hard to concentrate on anything more than keeping yourself from lashing out or finding a latex mask or a makeup palette to try to hide what they present to the world.
in that case, you can see Bill starts fidgeting, kind of the restless leg syndrome, tapping his foot like very, very quickly, but he managed to stay silent. Well, ask and you shall receive. Now, who wants to talk with our friend?
might be a good idea?
Alex, you know that cat, so does Hestia. You know, that's Whisper's cat. The fact that it is somehow still alive in its mangy, pseudo-dead state is significantly interesting, considering you all have not seen Whispers in a very long time.
Yeah, but the thing about Nosferatu is that usually if they don't want to be seen, you won't see them, period. Where does anybody know where Whispers is? Like, anybody have any ideas?
The last I remember was that he was captured by Sylvia, but that was before we captured her in turn, and before all the chaos that happened after. Might be a good time for a rescue.
And before she showed up at the Chantry House, alive and well.
Yeah, I vote yes on the rescue. Wait. Does anybody have a... Did anything else happen with that clawed assassin who almost killed me? By the way, have you guys seen him since, or gone down to try to find him, like to the bar he was working at, or anything like that?
No, we told Damien to warn the prince and Courteous and the others that they were being stalked, and he's aware of this person. They've dealt with him before, so they are on a watch for him. Hopefully that will be enough to keep him from doing what he set out to do, but we still have a capture or kill on site if we were to run across them, especially though we need to be careful about that, obviously. Damage that he can do.
Yeah, I was an idiot to attack him head on. I just didn't want him to kill Lucio.
So, as time always does, it moves forward. As you all discuss what it is that you may do or might do or would like to do, what have you all settled upon?
I think a rescue mission.
Getting back our resident Nosferatu would be helpful.
Do we have any idea where he is?
Sylvia's Haven was the last place I know.
That's what I was gonna say, I think, if I remember.
That should be our first stop then. Do you guys think it's gonna be guarded or abandoned?
Probably guarded. But we killed half of them before, so should be okay. I wouldn't underestimate Sylvia though. She's probably tightened up her wards since returning. So we should be prepared for that, if this is what we're going to do. Dizzy, do you have any thoughts on what we should do tonight, or whether this is the plan to go with? I'm willing to entertain other things.
I mean, not really. I got my own things. I'm spinning my own web, but it's not important right now. So, I mean, some of it kind of is.
Well, if you'd like to share with the class.
I mean, I can. I'm pretty well ingratiated into Loyola at this point, so you may have noticed I don't sleep here very often anymore.
Oh, the college. Sorry, my brain went somewhere else with that. Yeah, how's the college thing going?
I mean, it's going. It's a place to live, and it's food, and eventually maybe it'll grow into some influence, maybe some things we can do with it. to affect other things.
Okay. Is there some sort of problem you're having that maybe we can help with in the meantime? Something brief or pressing?
I mean, I don't think it's a kindred thing. There's just some mean girls who are on, well, I guess mean girls taken to the 10th degree. They're doing some pretty horrible things.
What did they do?
They're professors for sure.
They're just causing harm to some other students. Like I said, not important. Something I can totally handle. But so rescue mission.
Which college was this again?
Loyola.
Out of character, is that the same college that I saw that woman get attacked outside of?
Yes.
Oh dear. That's the same place that I saw someone get attacked by a bunch of Nosferatu outside of.
Bill visibly shudders. Says, well, I don't know. Do you want them like gone from the college or gone?
I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I need to mull that over exactly how I'm going to handle it.
Because you know what we can do with them? We can milk them for some blood. Because I know a couple of people that will love some of that sassiness in them.
So, with the mention of milking kine, while none of the coterie are particularly averse at this moment to obtaining blood from all manner of sources in all manner of ways, there's a limit to what's immediately palatable, and the idea of milking kine of their blood seems a little bit right on that edge, and so everyone girds their loins and begins to make the trip south to the Aragon Ballroom, which was where Clyde stated he'd run across several children of the dusk, several adherents to Sylvia's path of knowledge, and it was purported that they had a Nosferatu trapped through some ritual or another there within. Everyone aware that that particular Nosferatu that they may have their hands on was in fact Whispers. So, the Aragon is in the Uptown neighborhood and is literally the landmark at the southern entrance to the Uptown neighborhood. It is a theater in the old style that goes back to the heyday of vaudevillian style shows, even having been turned into a movie cineplex, and then finally, as it is in its current state, a auditorium where you can go and visit and see live DJ performances and bands and plays and all manner of stage-oriented entertainment. It is, without a shadow of a doubt, one of the larger, more private such places, even having been bought out recently from its former state as a haunted building that urban explorers ticked off their bucket list. As it stands today, with all of its lights being restored, its marquee shining over Lawrence, it is a fortress. You can enter in through the main ticket box. You could potentially find your way in through the back. It is 5 stories of space, not counting sub-basements. Finding the plans for the Aragon is not a hard thing. Finding which ones are accurate, however, is another matter entirely, considering all of the construction that has been done since its original state. where it sits, there's a dead-end alley to the west. There's a neighborhood immediately to the right of it. It takes up the entire corner. And then there's directly across the street from a bank next to the Red Line, the central tributary for the city. On the western edge of the building is a fire escape that goes from the halfway point between first and second floors all the way to roof. So with this edifice standing before the coterie, what is it that they are planning to do? How are they planning to explore uninterrupted to find whispers?
Just a side question. I know this is Sylvia's haven, as far as we know, but does she have a domain or just a haven?
Singular Kindred don't actually have domain. They have just a singular haven. Like, their haven is their domain. What happens inside their haven is no one's business unless, of course, they choose to involve them.
So,
Okay.
one idea is we could. Okay, actually, this isn't gonna sound as good as I thought it was, but we could try what we attempted in Chinatown and have one group be a distraction while the others attempt to infiltrate and sneak around.
All right, call me in for the distraction.
What kind of distraction are you going to cause?
Fire, mayhem, hootenanny. I don't know. I wing something up.
I was thinking more along the lines of trying to talk to them, to distract them.
So not to be the naysayer, but I remember how it went in Chinatown. So maybe we should, I don't know, use that as a plan B.
Yeah, I vote Dizzy for the distraction.
I agree with the fact that things went tits up in Chinatown. We should probably not do that again unless we absolutely have to. And I should probably look for wards and see if there's a way around them. Because it doesn't matter what sneaking we try to do. Once I trip the wards or the wards get tripped, she's going to know we're here any damn night. So, I'm going to work on trying to figure out what kind of warding she uses and if I can maybe blindside it for as long as we need to get in, but yeah, we're gonna have to worry about that. I don't know about.
So I'm thinking Bill goes with Dizzy in case smooth talking doesn't work. He can do his whole fire and mayhem plan B. I can go with Hestia to make sure that that whole side of the operation stays quiet. Lucio, what are you thinking you can do?
I'm not sure because right now I'm also remembering just how poorly Chinatown went and I'm having second thoughts about my own plan.
Well, you know, nothing goes sideways quicker than when, hey gang, why don't we split up? You check in the basement. I'll find the scary mass murderer lurking somewhere out there in the forest by myself.
Have we tried just asking for what we want?
That was going to be my next suggestion, but I have not personally met or spoken with Sylvia. Hestia, how do you think that would go?
Anybody but me, it might go neutrally or better. Me, I don't know. I don't think it would go well. So yeah, you've never met her before face to face other than the other night. She might just be okay with talking to you or Dizzy or even Alex, but not me. I will stick to the back and do magical backup. How about that? We don't split up. You be the face. Try to get her guard down, ask questions, and if that doesn't work, we bum rush and burn this bitch to the ground.
Do you think good cop, bad cop works?
Just once, I'd like to try and stick to the good cop only. Just once.
All right. I think our lady DC here is the way to go.
Alright, negotiating it is. Or at least an attempt to negotiate.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it's going to be, an attempt.
If anyone can do it, it's you, Dizzy.
No, gee, now that's no pressure.
None in the least. So how are you guys going to make your approach? It is clear that this is not a show day. There are no lines out front. There aren't any buses or trailers with the axe stored in the alley next door or out front. There's no valet. In fact, outside of the glowing marquee, it looks like what it is, a closed theater, a closed auditorium, a closed venue. Marquee is lit up, and you've seen one or two people go in, but they're clearly either staff or janitorial, or both.
Dizzy will just walk over and pound on the front door.
And while Dizzy is clanging at the front door, pounding against the glass, careful to not exert herself lest it shatter underneath her strength, as everyone else just gathered around, as what is it that we are doing? Is everyone is just waiting for Dizzy?
Lucio is going to be trying to keep an eye out for any possible security issues, and also for any sort of like things like traps or like cameras that they might be trying to use.
All right, sounds like a plan. Anybody else?
Alex will probably do the same thing Lucio's doing. 2 eyes at the 6.
Okay, that's easy enough. Both of you guys be so kind. Just go ahead and roll your wits plus larceny. And while that's happening, Dizzy, as you pound on the front door, and
Sorry, did you say wits and larceny?
yes, an
Okay.
older gentleman, looking in his mid to late 30s, probably closer to mid to late 40s, early 50s, but he is in considerably well-developed shape. It's clear that he spent a lot of time honing himself. His bald head and mustached goatee standing out against his lightly paled caramel complexion. He makes his way to the door and he looks you up and down, looking at Lucio and the gang around you. He holds up a finger and then steps back, moving further away from the glass, round a corner. It takes him a couple of minutes and he returns with a ring of key. He opens the door and, holding the key and his broad body standing in the doorway. Good evening. How can I help you?
Hi, we're here to meet with what was her name? Sylvia?
Oh, this is not good. You have chosen a very poor time, my friend. There is no Sylvia here. It has not been for many weeks.
That is very interesting. I will have to have words very sternly with someone who told me otherwise.
Who told you otherwise? Maybe I can help you. Maybe we can talk to them together, yes?
I'm sure I can handle it.
I'm sure you can. You look very strong, my friend. You look like a good friend of mine. Do you know Toinette?
No.
Oh, it's a shame. You two have a certain strength about you. I'm Eric. You are a friend of Sylvia's?
Like a friend of a friend, I guess.
See. Well, I wish that I could assist you more, but unfortunately, my friend, there is only so much that an information that I might have. Is there something else that I might help you?
Well, possibly. We are to understand that perhaps she may have an item, per se, that we would like to procure or negotiate for. If that item is here, perhaps we could negotiate with you for it.
Well, in lack of Julian being around, I suppose that I'm probably one of the old people here. What item?
Kind of a shriveled old thing.
There's lots of those. Your name? I'm Eric. And he offers his hand.
I don't shake hands. That's so outdated. Fist bump?
Very well. And he makes a fist and he extends it, looking at it as if it is the strangest thing he has ever attempted to do, but it is clear that he's attempting to be hospitable.
I will bump his fist and blow a bubble.
And
so anyway,
I'm looking at Lucio, who's pegged 3 of the cameras on the southwestern face of the building, and Alexander, who's pegged the 9 cameras trailing up through the various windows, watching the street, watching the alley, and it is clear that there's several items on the roof that you can't make out from your vantage point.
So here's the thing. We have it on good authority that the thing we're looking for, or the who that we're looking for, the shriveled old thing, well, we have his cat. And I'm tired of feeding this cat, and no one wants to scoop the poop anymore. So if we could get him back, that would be cool.
We're in the process of moving. I don't see the problem. I don't see the harm. Come on in. He steps to the side and opens the door wide for everyone to enter.
Well, I'll go in.
Much obliged, my friend.
While this whole conversation was going, Hestia would have been in Sense the Unseen, watching their 6 spiritually.
Be so kind as go ahead and roll your wits plus awareness plus auspics.
And this gentleman I'm speaking to, does he read his kindred? Is he not breathing, or?
No, he very much is breathing. As he holds the door open and he's waiting on everyone to enter in, because, well, it's clear that they keep the door locked when not in the midst of a show night. Hestia, there are certain things that just, you hate to see it and you love to see it all at once. The scars of magic leave a telltale hint. They leave a telltale scent. Most people don't notice it, but those who practice the arts and those who have delved into those darker places, when looking into that spectrum of the energy of the world, it stands out and lets you know that there has been great magic and furious mysticism taking place in this site. This is the burned out husk of God knows how strong of spellcraft being done. This is the site of several, and not one large explosive incident. The charred embers hiding just behind the visible, the wavering disdain of the spirit world, and how large the gaping maw is between this world and the next. It's a thing to behold. There's a sick, twisted beauty to it. My friend, are you okay? Is your friend okay?
I mean, that's kind of a relative term. For her, she's okay.
Man? Hello?
She snaps out of it. and looks him dead in the eyes. The things you guys are playing with. So dangerous. I wonder if she told you how dangerous they really are. And how it scars your soul.
My friend, you have no idea how much my soul has already been scarred. Not one for those esoteric concerns. It is of no matter to me. As I said, we are in the midst of moving, but you all are welcome, and it is clear that we are not as unknown to each other as we perhaps should be. Are you here because of that She-Hellion Alexa? Or are you here, as you say, to obtain something of yours?
Oh, we want what's ours. Alexa has nothing to do with this.
Excellent. Well, that being the case, I can only assume as to who you all might actually be. For the record, I would like to invite you into my home as guest, and I will extend to you every hospitality that I am able.
See, that's all we're looking for. I mean, I'm cool with that. I mean, there's no reason that we all need to be enemies.
No, nothing like destroying 50 lives to make sure that we are friends. I would prefer maybe a bowl of sugar instead of missing and dearly departed friends and associates, or instead of being hunted through the streets by Alexa. But
I mean, pretending that I know what you're talking about, that probably could have gone differently.
But in light of continued aggression, for now, let us be, if not friendly, at least associates and obey the laws of comity and hospitality. I understand there's a tradition that matters to us all: hospitality and domain. This is my home. I'm extending hospitality. Please do not violate my domain. Simple, yes?
I'm down with that. I mean, I don't speak for the group, just for me, but I'll let them speak for themselves.
You don't shoot me, I don't shoot you.
I don't like guns, my friends.
Excellent, then we're on the same page.
Hestia nods and then walks past, saying nothing else.
Mighty Christian of you, my friend.
No, please don't. I don't like Christianity. And there's nothing more damaging to one's soul than belief, something that you will never live to see. It is used to cow the mind, rip the heart out of people. Anyway, my own beliefs aside, again, welcome. Turns and fumbles with the key ring and crouches down and locks the door back, and right this way, moves much the way that he did when Dizzy first beat upon the door into the office, which is right around the corner, and he hangs the keys on the key ring. I believe what you may be looking for, and as you all move through, you see that while the Aragon itself will probably always stay open and in business as it is now, you do see the signs of boxes being packed and duffel bags here and book bags there and totes clearly loaded with personal effects as you all move through the building. It takes you roughly 4.5 minutes to take the path from the front door to the rear stairwell, which leads downstairs. He stops at the head of the stairs as the red light from the exit sign casts a garish light across his face. Before we go much further, understand that you are here for what may be yours, and it is amongst Sylvia's things and what she has taught us, not me personally, what she has taught us. So I would like to remind you that we have an accord. We are obeying the laws of hospitality and comity. And what was, what is only what we share, nothing more, correct?
Absolutely. Let's start on a fresh foot.
Good. Well, then in that case, I would like to ask you all to brace yourselves, as I'm not sure how much of the esoteric you understand, but it can be quite graphic. It can be quite damaging to one's psyche if you are not prepared.
You know, the things I've seen the last few weeks, if it was shocking, I would be impressed.
Good. I'm very supportive of your bravery. I'm not sure how much of you understand what it is that we do here, besides provide entertainment and support to the masses. And he begins walking down the stairs. The Children of the Dusk were founded by Julian Rademacher in response to being hunted from New York to Miami, all the way to California and back. Decided that if he was going to die, he would die in his homeland, or at least the home that he believed was his and family's. Upon arrival here, after many years of being persecuted and driven forth, he connected with several of the esoteric community. There were dream speakers and Jameer and Giovanni, Samdi. There were all manner of mystical community to which he reached out to, and his aptitude was great, far greater than anyone would have expected. And in the intervening 20 or so years of establishing our organization, there are many things that were done. Many. Some I regret being party to, some I merely regret knowing. And as he says this, he opens the door into the basement. And there are certain places that even the most entrenched atheist knows is a mystical place, a place of magical, supernal power. And this is what you are looking upon. There are circles of protection carved into the stone of the floor. And unlike most basements, unlike most buildings that are made within the last several decades, it actually is stone. Large hand-hewn stone. It is awash in that eerie light of candles, save that the candles lit here and now, they don't glow in the orange and red hue, but they have a violet tinge to them as the smoke waves and covers the strangely high ceilings of the basement. The columns spread throughout the space look much like the floor itself, carved from stone by hand in the old-fashioned way, as if some expert brick or stone maker had been practicing their craft for years. There, in various places about the floor, you see 6 sacrificial altars, all of them laden with desiccated or drying corpses, all of them staked into place, all of them connected with a trail of power that, Hestia, you see it for what it is. It is a wall of blood, not living actual blood, but the supernatural spectral ectoplasm of their souls tied together in place, forming a boundary and a nexus point for the tear that you saw the effects of upstairs. Everyone else who does not have sentience, can't see into the spectrum, just feels that power thrumming along as if there is a choir of monks humming just loud enough to be heard, but incessantly so, without needing to take a breath, without needing to stop or pause. Those who have bothered to rouse the blood so that they could feel would have their hair standing on end. Those who have roused the blood to breathe would feel the cloying weight of the smoke that is petering around the ceiling of the room. And those, specifically you, Alex, who has been most recently in places of power of some religious effect, know that this is a cathedral. This is a relatively holy of sight, and not holy in the Christian deal, but holy in this is the power of belief given form. My friends, I truly apologize for not being better prepared to offer sustenance for anything I need, but as we are friends of the moment, welcome to the hearth, the Children of Dusk. And with that, he steps forward into the space. The air shimmers and shifts as he moves forward into the open space. I believe what you are looking for is further back into the space there. He motions toward a darkened alcove. The candles there clearly having been burned for quite some time. They're a little bit lower, and the area itself, even from this distance, seems a bit cooler.
Dizzy will lock eyes with him, or attempt to, and lift up her foot and go, "So I'm following you on good faith because for the moment we are friends." And then she will step into the room.
What is Dizzy's resolve?
It is currently at 3.
It is akin to pushing through a wall of forced air. It's the feeling of everything that was once cold or cool being blown away. It is that air curtain that you have in certain meat packing places and certain restaurants and grocery stores, that wall that would force any bugs or anything small enough away from you and keep it from entering. It literally is a wall, a curtain of air, but in this case it's warm and inviting. The moment that you say you are here as friends and you step forward, it washes over you and you are perfectly fine. Come, my friends, I believe that, again, what we may be looking for, what you are looking for, among Sylvia's things and emotions again with that back cooler area.
Castia's paused at the walls that she can see, and she's kind of not quite touching them, but hovering her hand near them and like sliding her hand along them like she can see them, and studying and absorbing what they feel like and trying to reverse engineer, pick apart, learn from them. So that's where she's paused.
Lucio is going to follow Dizzy into the room.
All right. As you move forward into the space, what is Lucio's resolve?
It is 4.
Oh, that wall of air that hits Lucio feels as if he's stepping out of a noonday sun. It is welcoming and inviting. It's walking into fresh air for the first time after sweltering in the heat. When he steps across and it hits him, it washes past him as if it is welcoming and inviting him into the very heart of comfort.
This is a pretty nice place you've got here.
But of course, all places of people gathering in good faith hold such a feeling. Hestia sees right through what this is. If there is any ill intent, those with a weakening of will not be able to traverse forward. It is coming in a spirit that he's already clearly hinted at several times. This is a space of commenting and hospitality. It is literally a holy site because of all the energy that has been spent, all of the rituals worked, all of the moments spent in celebration of themselves and safety and security. This is a place of power, and somehow, whatever has befallen them has forced them to be willing to leave it behind.
The rest of you can go. I will stay here.
With heightened senses, can I hear any more people around?
Oh, that in that case, would you be so kind as go ahead and plus insight for me, please?
Yes.
This is a gathering place. You can hear the voices off a distance. You You know that there is clearly more here than what's simply in those other doorways and alcoves clearly lead to places that are being shared in the moment. How many people may be near at hand isn't unknown, but it is clear that there are more than just Eric here now. And while they're keeping to themselves and staying out of his path of travel, know that you are not.
Bill turns to Hestia and ask her, "You're staying put, sister?" Hestia, sorry.
Hestia nods. I would not make it past the barrier.
On some company, or?
No, feel free, they might need you.
Okay, see you on the other side. Bill enters the room.
And what's Bill's resolve?
I think it's 3. No, it's 2.
Oh. There is a buffeting as if he's walking into a wind tunnel that holds him at bay for a few moments. It holds him so firmly, it takes him a second to realize that some large giant has not simply held their hand up in front of him. Inhaling a much unneeded breath and stepping forward, he finally manages to make it past whatever's there. And inside, there is a warmth of congregation. There is a feeling that here people have tarried in good company. It is like walking into a house where you know that there has been or is a grandma who generally, honestly cares for every guest to their home.
Bill kind of adjusts his collar and walks in.
So while Alexander and Hestia wait where they are, Eric takes note of that, just nods. I'm sorry. Right this way. And he moves further into the space towards that darkened, cool corner, laying on what looks like a stone bed in much the same fashion as Regis was, is Whispers. He is surprisingly fresh looking, which is saying a lot for him. Even before whatever befell him here, like death over. And while that very much is the look on his face and what he appears as, his flesh isn't desiccated. There aren't any of those violet glowing candles near. Instead, there is what looks like the end of a white picket fence shoved deep through his sternum. Looks as if it's shoved into the stone itself, but that's an impossibility. Wood cannot drive itself through stone. There he is, fresh, unemaciated.
If I had to place a wager, I'd say, yep, that's the guy.
I am sorry to hear that. I was hoping that it would perhaps may have been more used corpses, but I am sorry for your loss. And he hangs his head and takes a step back, and it's clear that he honestly means it. Sorry for how closely you all were connected, but the fact that he said loss, and it's just a kindred being staked, carries a certain omen about it, a certain feeling that it's unsettling.
What do you mean lost? He's just staked, isn't he?
No, my friend. He was being used as a bit of leverage against you all. When Julian followed up on the information provided by several followed, they found Sylvia. Unfortunately, she was in need of the day most potent, and your friend, being the freshest kindred here, was used. She did not drain him, not in the way that most of us think of obtaining the Before I go on, I am being honest and forthright with you all and obeying the laws of hospitality. I have not denied anything that you have. I would like us to continue with this, as this decision was not mine.
We don't hold any of this against you, so go on.
She drained the very essence of his half, which we all carry as kindred. She pulled all that he was from him, but not through his vitae. She used the very energies of his being to ensure her own resurrection. This corpse is in fact a corpse. It is an empty shell, and that, and he points to the white picket stake that is holding him in place, is an anchor, and that anchor has been blessed or cursed depending on your view, and it is the only thing keeping his body from ashing. It is also the only thing keeping his body from being inhabited by another.
I see. So the too long didn't read version is that we're too late.
Yes, I am sorry.
Well, we're not too late to, I don't know, liberate him, because that sounds like a fate worse than death.
It can be, my friend. I understand that it is quite painful. I also understand that in this case, if we are to remove the anchor, not only would Sylvia be made aware, there is the opportunity for something else to inhabit him, as his soul, the half-bit that was there, is floating in the world just beyond ours.
I mean, it's my understanding that if you chop the head of one of our kind, then that's that.
So just so I'm clear on this, there's no way to save him.
I am not sure. Again, mystical, the more details of the aspect is beyond me. I know that if you remove the anchor, that anything might inhabit him, including him, perhaps.
Before we pull the plug, should we get Hestia's input on this?
Well, I mean, we know he's here. We know that he's in whatever state that he's in. So perhaps what we need to do is negotiate for his removal, but if he's being used as an anchor to hold other things at bay, well, I mean, we don't want to make that fucking mistake again.
Which is why I think...
Look, poor fellow. People are cold.
I would like to take him out of here, but it seems like we're going to need to talk to Sylvia for that.
I will leave you and give you a moment. Forgive. And he steps out of the room, leaving you all to discuss amongst yourselves.
Yeah, this seems like
we're
going to need to negotiate with Sylvia.
We left him to die. He was one of us, and we
prioritized poorly.
I've noticed that.
I said we chop his head off and put him out of his misery.
If there's a chance we can bring him back.
Extreme reaction to an unsure things, there might be a chance that we could bring him back. I don't know shit about any of this magic stuff.
Which is why I wanted to get Hestia's opinion on this, because she's much better at this than I am, or any of us.
Well, let us go get it, because clearly we're not taking him with us right now.
Alex, did you have anything to say on this?
As you all leave the room and move back towards Hestia.
Oh, sorry.
No, go on.
So he, gone forever? What?
Apparently she did some sort of mystical thing on him and took his soul out to redeem herself or to resurrect herself or something magical. So maybe he is, maybe he's not. But what we're being told is if we take the stake out, he will ash or something will inhabit him that may be him and may not be him. And also, if I'm reading it right, that he may be used to be anchoring from keeping some other shit from coming.
Very yes, but no, and also 100% accurate. And this is a very good summation. Your friend is right over here, and he walks back and walks with you all back towards Hestia. And he doesn't make a remark about Hestia not wanting to enter. He merely stays inside of that small air curtain as you all step back across to speak with Hestia.
So he's in there, sort of.
Basically dead, though. Like, I think.
What was explained to us is that he was taken, his soul or something, his very essence, his being was taken out of him mystically, and she used that for something, and now if we take the stake out of him, he will probably ash, or he'll be possessed by something, which could be him, but probably won't be him, or he will just ash, but then we will basically open a seal and screw everything up again. None of us know shit about any of this magic. We don't know if that's something that we can fix, but what we do know is that we are not taking him with us today.
Hestia listens to all of this, but she keeps her eyes on Eric the whole time. And while they were gone, she's walked closer to one of the anchor points of the wall, sitting on the platform on the other side of it, so that she's not in the wall, but she's on the other side of it, like where it intersects. And she's standing there, tapping her fingers on the platform that it's laying on. Now, I understand what you're saying, and I get that this is Sylvia's fault, because all of this is Sylvia's fault, dabbling in things she should not have, and teaching you things that you were never meant to know. And she will get her comeuppance for that. Trust me, the Tremere are not happy with her for that. But, in the meantime, what would happen if I were to just make this here body disappear somehow? To all this, what would happen? I'm just curious.
If I were you, I would not. But there is only one way to find out. Again, these esoteric aspects of our organization are a bit beyond me. It would not be respectful, but we all have our choices that we can make.
Now, you said Julian did all this. Is he around, or?
No, no, he is not. Otherwise, we would have a significant issue with you being welcomed into our home.
Does he not like us? I wonder why.
He has sworn a blood oath against any and all who have assaulted the children of the dusk.
He started
I am considerably more pragmatic. No, he did not. You all started it by siding with his brother.
I don't know what they told you.
Brother.
I would prefer not to get involved with family disputes, but I believe you had his brother working as your security.
Oh God, I forgot the guy's name. Out of character. What was his name?
I did not jot his name down for today's episode. Sorry.
Wasn't it Eric?
Aiden.
Aiden.
Yes.
Aiden. Because Dizzy was friends with it.
Yes.
She'd be like, Aiden? Aiden was my pal. What happened to Aiden? That still pisses me off. And in fact, didn't Sylvia kill Aiden?
Impossible. She did not help.
No, honey, I was there. She attempted to kill me, and in the process of attempting to kill me, she killed Aiden instead. And then I staked her, which was starting this whole thing, because she came into my haven under guise of welcome and domain and attempted to take my haven from me and kill me in the process. So, like I said, she and you started it.
But that's neither here nor there right now. But I would like to talk to Julian or somebody. Maybe he and I could just sit down on some neutral ground and maybe compare notes and see where this misunderstanding is coming from. Maybe we can work some things out before anyone else gets hurt.
That would be very, very kind of you. I will pass along your message to Mr. Rademacher. As far as your associate, is this something that you would like to obtain this evening?
Obviously, we would like to obtain him as soon as possible, but if there are mystical things at play here that we're going to be tampering with, we don't want to do that as well.
I understand. I am leery of the more esoteric myself. If that is the case, I would suggest not attempting to turn after tonight before Friday. I and mine are in the midst of relocating to a place that is considerably less embattled. After tonight, I will not return until Friday. In that intervening time, I cannot attest to what sort of hospitality you might receive.
Fair enough.
Not everyone is as pragmatic as to obey the old customs.
Sometimes it can be hard to see the long view.
So, ladies and gentlemen of the shelter, might I escort you out, or would you like to remain for long?
Hestia turns to go because she knows if she stays any longer, she's going to be tempted to wreck their whole shit.
Yeah, guys, I don't think there's anything we can do right now. This is something we're going to have to discuss directly with Sylvia, who is the only one who's knowledgeable of what she's done in there.
Lucio is going to run after Hestia real quick and try and reach up to her. Hestia, wait. You didn't answer my original question. Is there any way we could save him? Whispers, I mean.
I'd have to talk to Deuceable because he is the other person that's knowledgeable about putting souls back into bodies or taking them out in the first place, as he was keeper of the wards at the other Chantry house, so he would know something about maybe getting him back. But if we cannot get him back in one piece, as he was, then the best for him to be killed.
That's what I've been saying all along.
There's still a chance, Bill, but for now, know that at some point, we might have to make that choice.
We're thinking about our promised immortality, and here we are all talking about pulling the plug on one of our own.
I mean, to be fair, most licks don't make it out of what their mortal lifespan would have been anyway.
Yeah, and being immoral is one thing, but being immoral and possessed by whatever, that's just something I don't want to think about.
I should probably talk to Deuceable anyway to let him know about Blue and the Chantry House and what Sylvia has done and is continuing to do as a warning and see what he recommends. Because I can't attack her outright, as she is a member of the Chantry House in standing. So am I, but she has a higher rank than me at the moment.
While that's going on, I'll go back to my original plan and try and gather up some of the either some clients that I know to help or some contacts I have that might be able to help us. Maybe Martin might be able to help.
As you all leave the Aragon and make your way back towards your havens with thoughts as to how to proceed, there is the coming to grips with, yes, you all were promised immortality and that if being if you never reach final death. Somehow Whispers has crossed over into that land of the unknown without officially reaching final death. It feels very much like a slap across the face of every bit of knowledge you've had to this point. Sylvia and those of her ilk have found a way to cheat the rules. If she's pressed on it, she did not kill Whispers. Whoever removes that stake will in effect be killing Whispers if he ashes or if he's possessed. She has found a way to skirt the very fundamentals of everything that has been laid out before you until now. And as irksome as that is, it is the very realities that is the same exact thing that the Castigliones and the Tories have done for decades. Their agreement, their arrangements with Premention of the city and the Prince of the city, and with their arrangements with the Tower, allows them to, as long as they are not caught in the act, provably so, of transgressing against the traditions or interfering directly with any of the Tower's operations, they are free to do as they deem necessary. And that's the part that wrinkles. In two different ways, those others have found a way to both follow and transgress against the rules of society and the laws of both man and kindred. So with those thoughts weighing heavily, it is 12 after the hour. We'll see each other back here at 22 after the hour. Let's take a quick 10 minutes and then get back to the close episode. See you guys in 10 minutes. And we're back. Everybody made it?
I am here.
Here, just finish my ice cream sandwich.
Okay. I'm waiting a little bit on Bill, but in the leaving, there is for those who actually entered in and crossed back and forth across the boundary, leaving the actual physical location of the building, there is that feeling of being let out of church, and not just any church, being let out after a service where it felt as if not only the pastor or preacher or the priest was speaking to the congregation, but speaking to you as if there was some celestial force whose attention you had obtained, as if you were being the recipient of a message from on high, as if someone looked into your secret diaries and journals and spoke a message to you. It is that feeling of leaving some place, being given a personal and private benediction for what your life might be. And though the pall of dealing with the ramifications of potentially ending another immortal and the feeling that there are forces in the world that cheat, you all make your way back towards your haven. Those thoughts percolating, circulating. The very real fact that for the first time in a very long time, I had the opportunity to speak with someone who was being as forthright and honest as they were able to willingly. Where does that leave you?
Hestia's looking to the rest of them and just doesn't quite know what to say. There is some feeling of obvious sadness because they should have gone to try to get Whispers sooner, but then at the same time, there's the fact that Sylvia did what she did to get back to being normal, so if they hadn't have stopped Sylvia from going back, then, you know, she wouldn't have been able to do what she did. It's just a lot, and they have a lot going on, and she's kind of looks at the rest of them and shrugs. I really don't know what to say. I know that Eric person didn't do this himself, but he's part of it. And I don't have any ill will towards him, but he obviously doesn't know the person he was following. Sylvia killed Aiden, and he didn't even know that. So that proves to me that the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. And that's dangerous. Because then anybody can claim ignorance as to what the other side has done. And that bothers me. This Julian person, I think we need to find them or talk to them at some point. But not right now. We have other things we need to focus on. So whatever we tackle next, I would like everybody to kind of agree on, because I know we are all in different directions with our thinking here.
I think we should find that assassin before it's too late, the one with the claws. Not gonna rush him again this time. Obviously gonna be a lot more careful, but we can start with the bar that we first saw him at, where that one guy lost his phone.
Okay, that's one vote for assassin chasing. Bill?
Sounds like a plan. Yes, as long as we try to make it as fast as possible, because thinking of that poor guy there, it doesn't sit good with me.
I mean, I don't care what you guys want to do. Kind of, it's a lot, but I will just throw out there that what's going to be different about the fight this time than last time, where two of you almost died.
Last time we attacked him one-on-one, and we did it directly. He's too dangerous for that, obviously. I got cocky after pacifying the sheriff, I'll admit it, and I thought I could just run in there and save Lucio, you know, like Batman, but this isn't the comic book. I almost died. I literally felt my heart directly. And I'm gonna make sure I see him, try to make sure I see him before he sees me, come up with a plan, and see if we can include everybody in a way to attack him all at once and take him down. Maybe Dizzy can pacify him while I sneak up behind him, or Hestia can plant traps. Something like that, just not running at him and throwing him through a fence, you know?
But I mean, we still don't know anything about him, so effectively we're just all running at him to throw him through a fence at once.
So then the problem becomes again that we need information.
Apparently Damien ran into them before. If we tell him we're going after him to try to preempt any attempt on his or the prince's life, and I bet he'll be willing to help us out with anything he knows about the guy. So, Damien, information from him? Anybody have any other ideas?
I think Damien already has a lot on their plate and probably doesn't want to hear from us again tonight, so we might have to put that on the back burner. Dizzy, is there anything else that you feel is more important that you should be handling instead of chasing an assassin? Because I prefer not to chase the assassin.
I mean, unless you know of a way to bring back all the people that my hesitation has killed so far.
Unfortunately, no, I cannot do that. Otherwise, I would have solved my own problems a long time ago.
And it's a lot. Thoughts, recriminations, things that could have worked out differently if but. And as you all reach the haven, for you all to grab your vehicles, to make your way to your various places, and to head about your various errands, there, amidst the pall, amidst the feeling of loss and the many thoughts, the anger and sense of retribution that is triggering Alexander, the sense of wasting daylight because he's down for whatever, because as long as there's motion, there doesn't need to be any stillness in this decrepit, less than beautiful world, Bill, or the many thoughts of hesitation and lack of direct action that is triggering Dizzy. Has just sense of loss between all the members that were once part of the coterie to the instances and souls that have petered away. In a similar situation for Lucia, details of the meeting with Laura Blakeney not quite reaching here just yet, just the fact that it happened, information was exchanged, the lack of Juanica being present in the city, the overwhelming sense of dread with dealing with Whispers matter. And there at the haven, as you all make it to the door, preparing to decide to either go in or head your own way, is a body that Forcipulus inhabited. And he's smoking. And he's drinking out of a brown bag, a large 40-ounce size bag, and leaning against the doorway, clearly waiting for you all to arrive.
Well, you seem to be enjoying yourself.
Tired of sex already?
No, that's fucking great. Do you know how many times I've been railed and I've railed? Anyway, the thing that I find most annoying, hard to stay on task in this meat bag, but everything else is great. The sensations. Have you had what is it that the guy called? A hot soak. You literally sit your body in a tub with other people's sweaty water. It is strangely enlivening, but that's not why I'm here. Again, staying on task. When your thoughts do not become full-fledged concepts, I understand why you all seem so slow to I want to let you all know you all should batten down your hatches. I figure I owe you all that much. You should batten down your hatches. And he pauses and then looks at each of you. Damn, maybe a little too late for that already.
And what makes you say that?
Well, you all, even in your current states, aren't as alive as I am, but you're also not as unalive as I once was. You're not able to see what's happening. But the reason why you should batten down your hatches is there's a contract on your heads of sorts.
Must be Tuesday.
Close enough. You guys pissed off some heavy hitters, people who bargain and barter like they're actual full-fledged demons. What do you all know about the Hakata clan?
I know that asshole Don Castiglione is part of it, and that he wants the Haven.
They're like new, aren't they?
No, they go back centuries. Most of us hate them almost as much as we hate the Tremere, although it's more of a specific hate instead of a generalized disdain. Most of your Tremere hermetics are smart to deal actively with us spirits, with us beings who've never lived. Because we feed on the lesser, once human spirits, and those that survive turn into other things. But anyway, the House Akata, the Clan Akata, they made deals, and not just ordinary deals. Bind people in shackles and chains and trap them in servitude. Anyway, they're nasty sorts, so we dislike them specifically instead of just general. There's a contract on the shelter, specifically the metaphysical shelter. Each of you, your souls go to the victor. Those who wreak enough punishment and enough pain on you get a chance to live for a little bit or get free of their contract with the Hekata. So, batten down your hatches, you'll be privy to lots of spirits, lots of entities, lots of things you clearly aren't prepared for, otherwise you wouldn't have fallen for the spell that you're under now.
So there is a spell on us.
Yeah. Your failures, your sadness is being visited upon you twice. And the more you give into it, the stronger it gets. Before you all realize it, you'll probably be looking forward to dancing in the sunlight.
Do you know how this spell got cast on us?
The spirit that's inhabiting each of you now has been affected. You didn't go to any holy sites. That's like fucking crack.
Just left one.
You guys really have no self-preservation, do you?
You have no idea.
Evidently none whatsoever.
I mean, it's a lifestyle.
If I were you, it's easy. I can have a drink and appreciate the fact that I know what it fucking tastes like. I can go get a handy from the guy that works out at a bathroom at McDonald's. I appreciate life because every moment of it is a fucking victory. For you, it's probably a little harder. You guys get used to it and take it for granted. Let me guess. You all thought about something minorly suicidal. I don't know, like going pissing on the prince's forehead, or kicking one of the primogen in the teeth, or challenging a foe of great strength, or leading a charge, or better yet, I know, tearing down a church, which would get you to go back to the holy site to feed the spirit that's eating at you all. You haven't done any of those things, have you? Not yet, right?
So, just about all of those.
Oh, this is gonna be fun to watch. Well, anyway, I think my tab is done for the day. I've done my good deed. I think I deserve a blowjob.
Good luck with that.
I'm gonna fucking enjoy it. Guy has no teeth. It is the absolute best thing.
I don't need to hear that.
How charming.
Really happy.
Ridiculous. There are some things that were not meant to be said.
All right, fine. I take it back.
Just take it back.
Mages have their forbidden texts and spells. Society has forbidden phrases, and you have just uttered one of them.
He's been uttering them all night. He's always uttering them. I'm not sure if you know that, but he was right in my ear the entire time I was ripping and tearing in front of the Haven that one time. And let me tell you, the shit that I hear out of this fucker's mouth.
Well, it's all true. Unlike you guys, I haven't got the knack of lying yet, but I'm working on it. For instance, to spare your feeling, what if I said, I'm going to give? Would that help?
It might.
All right, well, I'm going to give. And that's a lie. I have no intentions of giving tonight. Given enough yesterday. I'll tell you, my ass is completely sore.
Would you mind giving us one last thing?
Ha, really? I didn't take you for the sword.
Some way of breaking the spell?
Oh, it's easy. Find your happiness. You only have so long to live. Immortality is not what all is cracked up to be. All Like I said, it's easy for me. I haven't been alive. I don't have anyone but myself and my own feelings. And God, do they come. They're sweaty balls of... Oh, that was Jeff. They're moments of joy that I take. And it's like... And he stops and he stares toward the sky. 3 nights ago, I opened the curtains. City Motel. I don't know if you've been there, Heart of Chicago. Lovely heart-shaped rooms. The beds are a little too uncomfortable, but even that's a joy. So the sun was coming, and I opened up the curtains just wide enough for a little sliver to break through. And I ran my fingers light, and the pain of watching my palms nearly burst into flame was so... Though the smell, however, was not. That I could do without, even though I kind of enjoyed thoughts. I see why you all get so distracted. It is amazing. But anyway, find your joy, connect with your humanity, save yourself just you can. And whatever you do, don't go to holy sites until you're... My guess is probably a Jagling, maybe a Bane. Lesser spirit, nothing strong yet, but they grow in strength every time you go near a holy site. Beat on it, multiply. Before you know
She says, blue.
I hate that guy. Glad
That's
he's
who it
dead.
is. No, it's him. He came back. And he's mad at
Yeah,
us
he's
now.
back.
Well, fuck. Doesn't anybody stay dead these days? Alright, I'm off to McDonald's.
Gonna be honest, I regret not letting you eat them.
You should have. But looking back didn't get us anything except for neck ache. And I'm not fond of that. Though the massage afterward is usually... If you need me, I'll be at the McDonald's for at least another... He's pretty good, so it usually takes about 5-6 minutes. Maybe I'll go for 15 minutes. And with that, he begins walking Aiden's path from the shelter to the McDonald's, where many things happen. And it's clear that you all are not privy to everything that has happened. And as he disappears from sight, moving along the blocks, moving from darkness to darkness, from strength to strength, do you all have any initial plans for your time, considering that there's still a significant amount to you?
Brain bleach?
Well, here's the thing, guys. I ran with a group in close quarters for a long time. And if we gotta find our happiness, we can't do it as the vampires. We need to step away from each other and just be the people that we were or want to be. But when we're together, we can't do that.
That's not a good idea for me. My death was a second chance. I wasn't that great a person. I wasn't happy. I fucked up and I did bad things. This second chance was the closest thing to grab at happiness that I had in a while when that happened. So I'll figure something out, but it's not going to be that probably.
Back to the salt mines.
I can't believe I'm suggesting this. She looks at Lucio. Remember that one club where we ran into the Fae?
Yes.
Weren't we like absolutely elated and happy that night? Until we figured out Portia did what she did. But before that, we were like freaking... It was amazing. We were good. We were listening to the music and we were drinking. And it was like, yeah. We should do that.
You guys went to a club with fairies?
Slight problem with that.
I've seen enough movies to assume that if it's something that's brought on unnaturally, that it's not going to work.
Right, so slight issue with that anyway. Safoa might have put those fairies through a juicer.
Okay. You're gonna have to explain to me how the fuck you put fairies through a juicer and what that means.
Well, when I last saw her in person, as a reward for a job well done, she gave me a particularly special sample of blood, which I later found out was fairy blood.
How was that? Did you see any dragons in the kitchen, or sprout butterfly wings, learn to fly?
No, nothing strong enough or not enough to bring that on, though it did feel hell of good to drink it. But yeah, she basically explained to me that they got the blood because some changelings were harassing a Toreador neonate at the same club that we were at with Portia, a Toreador neonate.
Well, crap.
Although, thinking on that just gave me an idea. So, I know a guy by the name of Janus. I don't know if any of you have heard of him, but there was one time when I was sampling he's a blood dealer like me, but there was one time I was sampling something he had in stock, and my god, it was an otherworldly experience to drink it. Like, I literally had a flashback to happy childhood memories while drinking it.
So
maybe we should find ourselves some blood like that.
Do you want to try to get high to find happiness?
Again, I've seen enough movies where I think if we do it artificially, it's not going to work.
Yeah, it's of my personal belief system that trying to outsource joy only creates more suffering, but that's just me personally.
I mean, really, if it's that easy, I can make some calls and we can all be rolling on Molly before the hour's over.
Who's Molly?
It's a drug thing.
Oh, okay.
No, so I don't mean like the blood was drugged. I think it was literally like the person it was taken from was like either maybe some sort of like special person or just had a really intense emotions when you were taken from it, when the blood was taken. That was my suggestion. And besides, we're vampires. Blood is kind of like the natural thing for us.
That is true.
Yeah, but if it's laced with something, and in this case, laced with emotions, as it were, it's an unnatural euphoria that we're creating for ourselves.
We are unnatural.
Clearly, we're not, because we're having this conversation.
Yeah, I don't know how. Okay, go ahead.
If we can't do it the artificial way, then it is the good old-fashioned way. I don't know what the fuck that is, but you said you needed to go off and do things and find happiness, and I'm sure there's a date involved. So, yeah, get on that, and Lucio will figure out what makes you happy. And Bill, I know money makes you happy, so I don't know how to give you that, but I'm not giving you any of my money. Alex will work on that too. We'll figure something out. You know what makes me happy? Being with my fucking plants. So I might just go do that. If you want to come be with the plants with me, we can do that.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I am down to experiment with some substances if you think that'll help, but I don't think it will. But sometimes that's its own reward.
It very well can be. And with thoughts of finding their happy, with thoughts of what is it that makes you, as you are now, happy. And for each of you, there are certain things that stand out. There are certain unaltered moments that filter through the mind of when the last time you were remotely happy, whether it was watching as a childhood friend and younger sibling truly enjoyed your presence being near, or whether it was sharing a tea ceremony with a spiritual, whether it was enjoying a moment watching late night TV with mother, or spending time communing with the spirits of the departed. watching life go while thinking of memories shared. All of those moments filtered through and circulate, rampant stream, and you can feel visible teeth and claws of that sadness and depression. The world is against you. There's no light and out. There's no good decision. Eating at those memories, attempting to pull those moments into the muck and mire, attempting to dirty the pristine, attempting to eat you from inside, and not devouring of the beast, the devouring nothing, devouring of just eternal darkness, as it pulls first one happy moment, then the next, as it attempts to pull even this moment where you all are simpatico as you have not been in quite some. And even now, those dark, nebulous claws of doubt and depression are attempting to pull even that. Realize that for as much dishonest honesty as had possessed for Sepulus in their attempt to attain life, that it very well may just that you all are under pernicious in assault, things not wholly of your. And on that happy, joyous moment, thank you all for our session, and I will see you guys. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Night.
Night, guys.
See y'all later.